Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, we're in the kitchen again. I'm gonna be cooking something. I'm actually gonna be making macarons because the macaron video I made 2 years ago, the Trying Tasty's Foolproof Macaron video, I had a lot of mistakes that I did. I've been working at a French bakery now for a year now. And so I make macarons very daily, and I know the proper techniques, the proper like ratio, the ingredients and stuff. It's really easy once you get the hang of it. It just takes a while. Like it took me probably like 2 or 3 months of constantly doing it to fully nail it. But take your time when you're making macarons, especially if it's your first time, because the slower you are, the more you can pay attention to your work and whatnot. In the last video I didn't do very well. I rushed through it, and it's just, I just did a lot of things wrong, and I know that. So we're just gonna, you guys are gonna follow this recipe and not the recipe I did beforehand. You guys are gonna stop bitching on the other recipe and just enjoy the fact that I actually know how to make macarons now, because I've been trying for so many years. The first time I ever made macarons was in 2016. It's 2020 and I finally nailed them, so I think I'm doing something right. The recipe I'm using is the one from my own bakery. Sorry, it's not my bakery, it's just the bakery I work at. I have everything measured out already, the dry ingredients for the most part. To start off with the egg whites, you want to separate them a day before you're going to make these. It will relax the proteins and like get it so that they whip up a lot better. The second tip is to really use a spoon and stir them up really well to really combine those proteins, because as you can see, like egg whites have like that really thin like liquidy version, and then like the kind of thick, well, the egg white part. By combining those two together, you'll get an even better whip. And you want these roughly at like room temperature, so set them out like 20 to 30 minutes before you use them. And so you're just going to mix them up really well. And there's like those little albumin pieces, those little white strings that come in eggs. You want to take those out. It's not like a big deal if you leave them in, but it helps if they're not in the mixture. So next you'll want a little glass ramekin and a scale, preferably a scale that you can get grams in. So you're gonna do 110 grams of the egg whites. We have our powdered sugar and almond flour mixture right here, and it's 219 grams of powdered sugar and 130 grams of almond flour. And then we have 40 grams of plain white granulated sugar, and then the 110 grams of your egg whites that you had stirred up and whatnot. Now we are going to sift the almond flour and powdered sugar mixture to make sure that there aren't any like lumps or clumps or whatever. You want to really like work your hands in there and stir it around and like really grind this through the sifter so that it really gets everything nice and soft and like at the right texture that you want. I've gotten everything sifted. It's all like one even mixture. So that's what we want. You want like this really light, fine, soft mixture. And the oven you want to set to 170 Fahrenheit, 170 Celsius. That's roughly 338. So I just preheated my oven to 340. 2 degrees shouldn't be too bad. Our ovens are always fluctuating at the bakery anyways, so this should all be fine. So you're gonna dump all the egg white mixture in, and then make sure that you're getting every last bit out. So just leave it tipped under and like use the whisk to kind of get any of the extra little pieces out. Put in about 1/4 to 1/3 of the sugar, and then you're gonna start on a low speed until all the sugar gets nice and dissolved into the egg white mixture. Once that happens, you can add a little bit more. Oh, and then turn up the speed. And then you'll add the rest of the sugar. And then turn it all the way up. Alright, and with that mixing on high, you'll let it sit for about 3 minutes. And then you come back and check it to make sure it's the right consistency. It has been about 3 minutes, and this is what it looks like right after the first like 3 minutes. I want to whip it a little bit more so it's stiffer. Now on the side you can see that there's this one peak here that's like really standing up. I want that, but like around the whole bowl. So I'm gonna whip it for like another minute or so. Overall, You don't always need to time this. Like after the first 3 minutes, it's kind of just you guessing and making sure. So I'm going to turn this back on high, let it whip a little bit more. You don't ever want to scrape down the edges. Just keep whipping. So the background noise was like really loud during this, but I'm showing you how to like fold the piping bag in such a way so it like really makes sure nothing spills out. So as you can see, I'm like twisting it a few times and then pushing the bag into the tip and then doing that like 3 times, and you should get a good solid seal on your piping bag and nothing will come out. And then you're just gonna fold the edge down halfway like you kind of see in the cooking shows. Okay, I've been whipping them for like 3 more minutes. I think this is about as like stiff of a peak as we're gonna get. It's obviously like really solid because it's staying in the whisk like really well. So that's another key sign that your egg whites are well whipped. But the biggest sign I typically look for is like actually visualizing on it. And it has like really stiff peaks. You want it to be fairly glossy in like the texture on the egg whites. And so overall, I've really gotten that on these. Again, I think if I had let these sit overnight, they would have turned out much better. But we're just going to go ahead and go with it. It's not the end of the world if it's not completely whipped up. So first you're just going to clear out as much as you can off of the whisk itself. So just like get a very flat, flexible spatula. IKEA has some really great ones. And you want a very shallow, flat bowl. This is the only shallow flat bowl I could find at home, but whatever works. But you want it to be fairly shallow and fairly flat because the next step we're going to do is the macaronage, and that needs a lot of like surface area to move. And then you're just going to tap your whisk on the side gently and then just get every last bit of egg white. You don't want there to be like any remaining egg white in the mixing bowl or on the whisk. Like if there's a tiny bit, it's fine, but for the most part you have to get it all, or else you're A, wasting ingredients, and that's just not fun, and B, it's like it will affect the texture later on. So you want to make sure you're getting all the egg white. So you're just going to use your fingers to get in between all the little wires. Leaving like this much in the whisk is okay. That's like not going to kill you, but still try to get as much as you can. You're going to take the mixture from in the bowl, scrape it into the other bowl. Now, with a flat plastic bench scraper, this is what we're going to use to macaronage. Moisture is the mortal enemy of macarons. That's all I'm going to say. So, with your almond powdered sugar mix, you're going to add 1/3 of it into the egg white mixture and like sprinkle it over the top, kind of like snow. And then it doesn't have to be even thirds, but about 1/3. You're going to like flatten it down like this and get all the outside edges combined into the inside. You just want to wait until all the almond flour gets evenly distributed. The mixture will kind of like get glossy. So you're just gonna do that. And once you get all that combined, you're gonna scrape down the edges, make sure that all the mixture's in the center. And this is like literally a terrible bowl for me to do this with, but I'm just gonna keep using it anyways. And then you're gonna dump in another 1/3 of the mixture. I'm going to do a little bit more this time because I did not do enough in the last one. And then you're just going to repeat that motion where you're going to go under and then lightly kind of fold onto the top of it. Like I would do about 3/4 of the bowl scrape and then fold on top. 3/4 fold. Like that, okay? So you're going to get this all combined in there and looking all lovely. And you can be a little rough with it if you want. Like you don't have to be gentle. I'm just showing you guys in slow so it looks gentle, but at work I honestly am pretty rough with it because you do want most of the air to be out of it. It's kind of weird because like you worked so hard on getting all the air into it, and now you're like getting rid of it, so you're like, why did I do all that? Trust the process, my guys. Just trust it, okay? And you're going to keep cleaning up as you go. So after I got all that last bit, as you can see, I added the last 1/3. And this is where we want to be really careful not to over mix. want to make sure that it's pretty smooth. And then you're going to scrape it all down. This is where you test it. I don't think it's ready yet, but it might be, honestly. And then you're going to get as much as you can underneath the batter. So like literally all of it. And then you're going to lift it straight up. If it runs down like that, you know you got good batter. So you're going to pull up, oh my god, and then bring it down like this. And see how it's slowly moving, but still moving kind of quickly into the center of the bowl. That's the texture you want. That's the exact texture, no more, no less. If you overdo it, you're going to get flat macarons. If you overdo it, you're going to get peaks on your macarons, which no one wants. So you want to fold the edge over just enough, and like enough to cover your hand for the most part. And then you're going to rest the corner, like this little C part of your hand, right at the seam of the piping bag. So like this, you're going to scrape from the edges and like push onto yourself, or like use your elbow and then bring it and then scrape into the piping bag. Do you see that? Sorry, I feel like I'm not doing this right. Okay, so you're going to scrape up and then push into the piping bag so that it gets all in there. And that's why we use these rubber plastic scrapers, because they work wonders. So you'll keep rotating the bowl. This bowl's hard to move because it's so heavy. And you're going to just get all your macaron batter into the piping bag. And again, you literally don't want to leave any, because it's a waste. You spent all this time making your macarons. Why would you want to waste it? Kind of spilling all over the place because I didn't fold enough over. So then you're going to fold the edge back down, and then use your fingers and pull the batter to the center of the piping bag, because you don't want it to squirt out, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. And so that is how you macaronage. So you want a piece of parchment paper that roughly fits your pan. This one's a little bit big, but it's not the end of the world. And then you're going to twist the bottom of this, and see how it's still like twisted, so nothing's going to come out right now, because you completely sealed that. Pipe like quarter-sized dollops. You want them well spaced, like an inch in between, because they're not going to spread out at all. You just want to keep the piping bag as upright as possible. Lightly. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on each edge you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then you can lift it up. These pans are so small compared to the ones at work. And then you can use your hand underneath specific macarons to flatten them out even more. Like, see how this one has like an extra little peak? You just want that flattened. So you use your hand to get all those air bubbles out. See, and now they are completely smooth. We have all the macarons piped out. So now we'll wait. I'm going to set a timer for 24 minutes. That should be enough time to set it. Use your finger and you lightly tap it. And if nothing comes off on your finger, then they're all ready. I put them in for 5 more minutes because they weren't quite set after the first 24 minutes. So they've been sitting here for about half an hour. So now we're going to bake them in the 340-degree oven for 14 minutes, flipping them halfway. And then they should be all baked through. Okay, they're all done. They're out of the oven. The problem is, I think that the oven was too hot. I probably should have put them in for less time. But they are perfect shape-wise. They're just burnt. But the shape is perfect. As you can see, they have the perfect little feet on the bottom of them. They're like round on the top. But yeah, overall they're perfect. I'm just going to put the chocolate buttercream in them. But they just came out. Let me try it. It's a little toasty tasting, but overall I think it's good. I think the buttercream will cover that up. See? Look how freaking adorable these are. Sorry, you guys are right by the window that's open. Look how adorable they are. Oh my god, I'm literally in love. Why am I so good at my job? Focus on the macaron. Focus on... I finally made successful macarons for you guys. Are you proud of me? I'm proud of myself. So, I hope you guys did this recipe. If you did, please send pictures to me on my social media. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for subscribing. I'm almost at 50 subscribers. Now it's not a big number, but it means a lot to me because there's 50 people out there watching my shit. So yeah, I'm gonna finish piping these, probably taking Instagram photos and shit like that. But yeah, I made macarons and they turned out well, and I did them at home for once. I'm so proud of myself. So I will see you guys next video, whenever I end up posting that, who knows. And I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye. It's like the color you want on this thing. Alright, macarons. So I bumped down the temperature to 335 degrees Fahrenheit and only baked them for 6 minutes and then turned them, so 12 minutes total. I realized at work we actually baked them around 350 degrees, but again, it is a bigger amount. It's like it's just different there. So 335 at a home oven, and for 6 minutes, rotate 6 more minutes. That's the perfect amount of time that you need for this recipe. So I wouldn't do them any more than that or any less. So letting you guys know, but at work I do them at a higher temperature. That's all. Okay, thank you guys. I will see you later.